All right, more indie games right here on the Twitch stage at Pax West. And right now I'm joined by the team for Rogue Wizards. Good name, guys. And of course, Rami down there on the end as well. Introduce yourselves and let's check out some Rogue Wizards.
I'm Colin Day. I'm the founder of Spellbind Studios.
I'm Paul Mobbs.
Paul's helping out driving here, so
Right.
dude, tell us about Rogue Wizards.
All right, so Rogue Wizards is a turn-based dungeon crawler, and it's got a town-building elements like in between. So right now, where we've started in the beginning of the game, like it's kind of in the middle. We have a whole bunch of blacksmith and stuff that's been built up over time. But most of the action happens like inside these portals that we're going to go into, and that's where the bulk of the game happens. So we're clicking on the portal. We're going to pick the cosmic environment up here, and we're just going to wander around there.
So where'd you take your inspiration for combining the dungeon crawling with the town building piece?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been part of like some of the Diablo games. I'm a big fan of that, and I'm a big fan of like the old Rogue games, and I wanted to like bring that stuff together, but do it in a turn-based way, which is kind of what we're seeing here. So it's like, I like the game, I want it to be snappy and fast, like an action role-playing game is, but because it's turn-based, like, you can set it down, you can answer the phone, like, you're not gonna die. You don't have to like click spam, the faster you spam, the button, like, it doesn't do you any good. Like, when there's monsters on the screen here, they're moving, and then you're moving, and so you get to watch the action play out that way. And everything takes a turn. It's intentionally not a really complicated tactical strategy game. Every turn, like, you can move, you can equip a weapon, you can equip a spell, you can click to attack it, and that's kind of all there is to it.
Yeah, you definitely get the tactics vibe. I mean, I presume that's by intention here with the square grid that you have laid out.
Yeah, I mean, with the square grid, like, it's easy to click on a square and you know exactly like what a turn is going to go. Like, you will move one square for one turn.
Which also gives it the sort of rogue feel.
Yeah.
Is this being procedurally generated, or how's that work?
So what we're looking at here is a completely procedurally generated dungeon. This is the Cosmic Rift environment, so it's using the sort of more organic generator, makes these more blobby sort of shapes. The first thing people sort of latch onto when they see this is it's got this visual line of sight system. So like as you're walking around, like the tiles are rising and falling,
right?
And that really represents like your line of sight in the world. You have to look at the mini map to keep where you're in track.
It's also really pretty.
Thank you very much. So, like, we got a great artist who's local here to Seattle. His name is Alex Madrigal, who's drawn a whole bunch of stuff in the game, and my other artist, Phil Shank, has finished everything else.
So how do the two interact? How does the town building and the...
Right. So you start off in the dungeons, and the storyline, there's a storyline for the game where you're finding these scrolls, and it's finding kids in the world that are really have latent magical abilities. And you'll find these other NPCs in the world that have also found these scrolls, and you take them back to this town where it's protected for everybody to sort of hone their magical abilities. And from there, like, those NPCs in the dungeons, like, become the blacksmith. They build the blacksmith, they build the dungeon, they build the armorer, and that's how the town slowly gets built up over time.
Sort of in a, like, sort of Suikoden way? Are you familiar with Suikoden?
Yeah, it's probably Suikoden. It's a great game. I love it.
Yeah, it's like, we love those games because as you go out in the world and find them and bring them back to camp, you sort of have that investment in them, right?
And
it builds a bond.
And because it's a single-player game, like, those other NPCs, like, they fight with you in the dungeon. And so that way you don't have to, like, be so alone when you're going around there. And besides that, we also have the pets, so they can join you in the dungeon too. So it's not just you wandering around. Like, there's little helpers to help you along the way.
That dragon being an example.
Yeah, that's one of them. Like, he's the dragon. We had a Kickstarter in 2014, and the Kickstarters voted on which pets to make, and they wanted to have the dragon and the owl, which appear in the game today.
Nice.
So I think one of the challenges to this sort of turn-based tactics game comes from designing the AI for your enemies, right? Because hypothetically, the computer can be perfect. It's always going to know what's my most optimized move right here, what's the best course of action. But if you throw that at the player every time, it can be a little intimidating. How do you kind of balance that out?
Yeah, so there's a lot of randomization like in the game. So enemies like have, multiple powers, and they don't just do the best move all the time. We roll the dice a lot of times to figure out like what it is that they want to do this time.
That's cool.
That way the enemy that has that ranged attack isn't always going to throw that fireball at you just because they can. Like, sometimes they're going to move closer because they want to use their melee attack. And that feels a little more fair to the player.
It also, can throw players off guard.
Right.
You can catch them by surprise.
You want to break up, the monotony of like the same attacks like all the time. You want to keep it fresh. I mean, that's the challenge in a procedurally generated game like this. Like, it's not like making the world. It's actually really toning down those numbers so that you make it an interesting world. So you have the right enemies with you, that they're mixed up, and that they're always presenting something fresh to the player. And discovery is a big deal, in this kind of game. We want people to go through, find all the new enemies. The enemies get mixed up. They kind of affect each other. We have some of these enemies that like turn other ones invisible, some of them that heal other enemies, and that's where the real sort of emergent gameplay starts to happen, which is cool.
Yeah. That's always my favorite part of making a game, right? Like when you put systems together and then suddenly it just does something where you're like, oh,
Right.
oh, that can happen?
Yeah, this
Nice.
great example, like we have this enemy who like makes the ground all slick with ice slicks and a spear, which gives you extra attacks when you move. And the way it just worked, like I didn't even have to do anything. Like when you stepped on the ice slick, you slide by an enemy and he like stabs him with his spear like as he flies by, which was great. It was like totally emergent gameplay, and like that's what I'm going for when you're putting all this stuff together.
That's amazing.
I mean, you guys, maybe you can answer this. I sort of feel like in games like this, one of the challenges is to not put too many systems in, not make it overwhelming, but
Yes.
find the right amount where it's fun. Where do you want the player to like have their most deep experience?
Oh yeah, I want it to be in the dungeon here. Actually, the town mode when it first started out was very complicated. You would build all sorts of stuff. You know, you would like water the plants and water the trees, and they would affect all. You could farm basically up there. But I had to like really cut it back because the core of the game I want to be the dungeon crawling.
Yeah.
And that's where the fun is. And I take feedback from all the players. This has been in beta for 6 months or so with the Kickstarters playing. And they really, for instance, hated walking across the dungeon. They're like, this part is boring. Like, I want to go across the dungeon really fast. So, because of that feedback, like now you can open up the minimap and you can like teleport around just at any points, any waypoints you find. And I don't even really care. That doesn't make sense. Like, I just want the player to continue having fun.
It's a video game.
Hey, you know what?
Like, it has to fit the world.
Every
that's all.
game designer should just have that. I just want the player to have fun.
Right.
That's a pretty good idea. Hey, for folks who didn't kickstart this, when should they look for Rogue Wizards? Where
Right.
can they find it?
So Rogue Wizards will be out on Mac and PC on Steam later this month, September 27th.
Nice.
So it's just a few weeks
Congratulations.
away. Yeah.
That's like
This is
right
good.
there.
It's been working on it for 3 years, and it's about 3.5 weeks away. Next year, we'll have the iOS and Android versions. That'll be sometime in the spring.
Oh, you're going to go to mobile.
Yes, it's going to go
far
there
out.
too. That'll be in the spring or so. Like it runs on it now, but we wanted to lead with the PC and Mac platforms because like that's where I've grown up playing everything, and I want those players to experience it first.
Man, congrats. The game looks fantastic. That's Rogue Wizards. Stick around. We still have 4 more games, 4 more indies from the PAX Rising booth to bring you. This is PAX West, powered by Twitch.